Watch this video, then we'll talk.
So what's your take?
My take is that all guys think they want to date the like cool, hot, artsy, baddie girlfriend with like baby bangs and a bad father, but that's actually not the case at all. What all guys in New York want is to date the like candid girlfriend. You can trademark that. Candid girlfriend is a girl who's like 5'5" and a half, naturally thin, has mousy brown hair no longer than shoulder length. She's like from New Hampshire, maybe studied art history, and I would say the biggest part of her personality is that she like loves pomegranate, and her boyfriend thinks that's like so quirky and adorable.
100% agree.
She's never the like overt center of attention, but her boyfriend is always posting film photos of her, hashtag 35mm, on his Instagram story, and she's always just kind of like... The candid girl is the patient zero of the pick-me girl. She's not even trying to be pick-me, she just authentically has nothing going on in her brain. Pick-me girl is a girl who pretends to be interesting and unique to get attention. This girl just has nothing going on in her brain. She likes good pottery.
And so all guys want that?
All guys want that because they can make a muse out of her. Also, this girl is always referred to as this one in the caption of the photo. Happy birthday to this one. And it's always like a photo of the back of her head. They're like in Tokyo on vacation in the spring. Do you know what I'm talking about? They like both love Japanese culture, but they're both white. I've really only seen her on like the third slide of like an IG photo dump on her boyfriend's Instagram. I would love to meet one of them. I'm a girl's girl. I want to see you up close. I want to touch your skin. Her name's Emily. They're taking the hot man.
We have so much to discuss. Also, hi, my name is Shayna, for those who are new here. I talk a lot about decentering men, living a child-free lifestyle. Also, I'm a journalist, so I got a lot of thoughts, and my editors don't want to hear them all the time, so I'm bringing them here. So if any of that sounds like the vibe, please like, share, subscribe, and tippity type your thoughts away in the comments section. If I say anything that resonates, I'd love a super thanks, all that good stuff. Now, let's dive into the TM Candid Girlfriend. First of all, we all know that girl. We all have an idea of that girl, or like not even an idea. There's a specific person that comes to mind for a lot of us. And it doesn't have to be somebody that we know. It could be somebody that we've like seen on social media, right? Now, what the speaker in here who encapsulated this image for all of us, right? What she said is that this person doesn't have anything going on up here. I'm going to add a little bit more nuance to this conversation because I think that there's two kinds of candid girlfriend. There is the empty vessel, which is what she was talking about, and then there's the chameleon, both of which are a concern for all women everywhere. So because the speaker talked a lot about the empty vessel, I'm going to talk about the chameleon. And the chameleon is the kind of person who sees the candid girlfriend archetype, knows that that's not her, but wants access to men that want that kind of girl. So she chameleons herself into the candid girlfriend. She takes all of her passions, all of her ideas, all of her nuances, all of her idiosyncrasies, and tucks them away somewhere deep, dark, that only she knows about. Sometimes she forgets about them once she gets the man that will create the idea of aesthetic relationship that she wants. At the end of the day, the speaker is right. Both of these kinds of people are pick-me's. They're not girls. They are not necessarily even to be trusted as friends. And I'll dive into that later. But yeah, let's continue with this for a hot second. Now, for those people who are like, I think I know what this looks like, I'm not really sure. If you've seen Bridgerton, you have seen people actively trying to become the chameleon version of the candid girlfriend in real time. Like in season two, when the main guy, I think his name is Anthony, was going around vetting all of these women to see who he wanted to actually court, you could see them have all of these like personalities. All of these different women were like trying to mold themselves into the muse that would draw him in. Now, because it's a Shonda Rhimes masterpiece, none of that actually worked. But in reality, that works all the time. I mean, just think about it. How many women do we know who are, let's focus on the women. So how many women do we know that are dating men or have married men or engaged to men who are like, I just wanted a girl that would watch football with me. I just wanted a girl that would just really eat a cheeseburger. I just really want a girl who just be a bro with me. And so there's all of these ideas that a man, it's like, these are my non-negotiables. I need you to ooga booga with me. I need you to think my ooga booga is the sexiest thing to ever booga in your direction, right? So there's a lot of that men require. And so there are a lot of women that either are indifferent or genuinely dislike, do not care about these kinds of activities, right? But they'll pretend. They'll feign. They'll put on this chameleon-esque space. There was this one video that I saw of a woman who was talking about, or no, I think it was her friend who was talking about how this friend was now married to this man, and that man's non-negotiable was, my wife has to have a passion for skiing. She has to ski and love skiing as much as I do. It seems like he didn't really care about like a lot of other things, but that skiing thing was a non-negotiable. Now this woman, she didn't care about skiing. It sounded like she didn't even really like it, but she wanted to be picked by that man. So what did she do? She chameleoned herself into a skiing advocate. She was like, oh my God, I love skiing. It's like the best. And then they would go skiing together and she hated it. But then she was like, okay, I really like this guy, so I guess I have to be good at it. And now they're married. And she's like, yay. But this kind of thing happens all the time. The chameleon, candid girlfriend. Basically, regardless of if you're the empty vessel, not you, but you know what I mean. Regardless of if they're the empty vessel or if they're the chameleon, they are actively, which is the chameleon, or inactively, which is the empty vessel, creating themselves to be a blank slate for the guy that they want to pick them to paint whatever dreams, desires, personality, quirks, whatever. She is the blank slate for him to superimpose all of the things that he wants her to be onto her to make his reality, to make the idea of her his reality. He doesn't actually know her. And part of that is because she either does not want to be known, the chameleon, or there's very little to know. The empty vessel, there's a lack of specificity. There's a lack of self-discovery. It's not self-awareness, because there needs to be something for you to be aware of, but the lack of self-discovery, I feel like the speaker says, I think it comes from like the history of like what whiteness is in the world, especially when it comes to white womanhood. Now, this is something I'm thinking up off the cuff, so follow me if you can, if both of us can, I don't know. So when I think about the candid girlfriend historically, I think about how in Europe and in much of white history that has then been superimposed onto the rest of the world that's been colonized, white women were not able to survive on their own without the direct influence and association via marriage to a man. So they needed to be picked for their livelihood, for their children. If they're a widow, God bless, right? Which also then feeds into the whole conversation about like, oh yeah, single moms don't have value. Like, it's all giving whiteness, even though it's not just white people that are having these kinds of weird discourses, right? So because white women historically have always had to be picked because of the patriarchal systems that are also ingrained into much of whiteness, not all of whiteness, but hey, that candid girlfriend was a survival tool historically. And we're seeing it show up again now, but like with an IG filter. Little bit of muse history, right? So this woman right here, her name is Edie Sidwich, right? Now, a lot of people don't really know about her, but we always know the person that she's with, right? Andy Warhol, the icon of contemporary art, right? Now, she was his muse for, I genuinely don't know. And here's the kicker, right? So not only did she die incredibly young of a drug overdose, she was like 28. She wanted to be an actress. I think she was in a couple of films and things, but nobody really like knows her history. And that's kind of the point of a muse. You're not really supposed to know them. You're supposed to only see them the way that the man that they are associated with wants the world to see them, which is how he sees her, which isn't really her. This is one of the like famous works that Andy Warhol made of her. We know his view of her. We don't know her. And that is the point of being a muse, to elevate a man's whatever it is, whatever he wants you to be, that needs to be elevated, not for you, but for him to be elevated within the society that he wants to be elevated in. She was his bridge. She was his stepping stone. She was a beautiful thing, not a person, a beautiful thing for him to suck creativity out of, that he could then use to elevate himself, but also have this beautiful woman be next to him for pictures, because women being associated with men elevates their status automatically. But then to use different elements of her to continue to elevate himself is the muse. The less of you that we see, the more that a man can create upon you. So think about like a blank painting. Think about and I love a shortbread cookie, but think about a plain shortbread cookie. Think about a simple pound cake. Think about all the things that can be created upon those base level creations, because a blank canvas is still a canvas, but it also creates a lot of space. In fact, there's nothing wrong with being a blank canvas, as long as you have like strict boundaries of, hey, listen, I have intentionally made myself this, do not touch. I am art on it on my own. But if those boundaries are not in place, then it creates space for men to come in and say, oh, I know what to do here. And then that's the end of that. And then you are no longer you to the world, and sometimes even to yourself. You are what he has created you to be for his own image. So this video is getting a little long. So tomorrow I'm going to be posting a video about why these kinds of women cannot be girls. Like it's against the nature of the Candid Girlfriend to be a girl's girl. We'll be diving into that tomorrow. But for now, don't forget, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you tomorrow.